before the season started, we would go through and do a 24-hour live stream. So it looks like I need to start planning for that live stream, as it's almost guaranteed. We are hitting 90,000 subscribers at this point. So the plan is the stream starts Monday morning. The stream starts Monday morning. I'm going to shoot for 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, and we're going to run for 24 hours. But today we are going to go through, we are going to give you a little sneak peek of what that stream is going to be. Of course, we are going to be drafting on Underdog. And I do want to give y'all also a small announcement about Underdog. I'm sure that 99% of y'all already know this by now, but they did launch their week 1 player props, and there are a couple lines that seem intriguing. I would love to know what you think about this Gabriel Davis line here. We're not going to make any player props in this one. We are just going to go through. We're going to fire up some 2022 fantasy football drafts, just like we are going to do in that 24-hour live stream. So, of course, if you want to participate in that 24-hour stream, if you want to draft with us literally any single night on the live stream, we do this every single night. Make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. And at the same time, you'll be able to have so much fun in these best ball drafts. No time commitment at all during the season. So it's the perfect spot to just get in some extra leagues before the season starts. Like I said, you can find the link in the description, link in the live chat, promo code FLOCK. We draft here every single night, but more importantly, I'm going to need your help in the live stream draft. I have no idea how I'm supposed to do that for 24 hours. Okay. So now we have M. Breezy coming out, says he's in this draft right after us. Okay, so M. Breezy here at pick 11. We have Caden at pick 12. Kickers' lives matter. We have not seen Kickers' lives matter out here, unless I'm mistaken, in a very long time. Happy that they're in this draft here with us at 7. Oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough one. I mean, when we are at 10, I guess maybe this is an Adam start. I'm assuming that this is going to be an Adam start, but we have Christian McCaffrey falling down here to 3, which is interesting. Eckler goes at 6. Girthquake is out here as well. Y'all know Girthquake made us this beautiful sign behind us, and we got another one coming. We got another one coming. I don't want to say much more than that. Stephon Diggs off the board 7. Dalvin Cook goes. So we're just going to get Derrick Henry or Devontae Adams. It is Devontae Adams. Fitting that Devontae Adams is the thumbnail of this video. So I guess it was destiny for us to get Devontae Adams here at 10. I don't think we can go up against the thumbnail of the video. And then we have M. Breezy decides to go ahead and take Joe Mixon at 11. I think a lot of these running backs in this range are going to be similar. Let's just see what guy that ends up coming back around to us. And if we were playing in that shallow redraft league, if this was a league where you only start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex, there I actually probably go running back or Travis Kelce. But on Underdog, you have to start 3 wide receivers, and with it being best ball, these guys are going to slide up draft boards. So for that reason, we have to take Devontae Adams at 10. PT says, how bad will Texas lose to OU this year? We have Jayan out in the chat. I would say that if I had to make a spread right now for the OU Texas game, I would go OU minus 3.5, but hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns. Maybe I'm even a little bit biased in that. Maybe it should be a little bit higher. Okay, so we're going to go Najee Harris at 15. I mean, with Najee Harris, he's very similar to me. For me, with Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, I honestly probably still prefer Najee over Saquon Barkley, even though I know everybody would say the exact opposite. Anybody that's smart says that they want to go ahead. They want to take Saquon Barkley over Najee Harris. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Javonte Williams off the board here at 18. And one of the best games I've ever been to was the Texas OU game the year before CeeDee Lamb came into the NFL. So CeeDee Lamb was in the 2020 class, so that was 2019. CeeDee Lamb absolutely manhandled Texas. Like, it was an embarrassing effort. It was embarrassing. We got smoked. It was close for a while, but we ended up getting smoked. Carly coming out, thank you, says, yo, Flock, somehow I got Kelce and Saquon Barkley in rounds 2 and 3. That is just disgusting. I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier on in the video today when we were looking at must draft running backs, where we were, instead of looking at like the high stakes drafts that you have on Underdog, where there are a ton of sharp drafters, we were just looking at like Fantasy Pros ADP saying, okay, what can we expect in your home league? And you had Saquon Barkley with around 3 ADP. So it's like, okay, yeah, Saquon Barkley is a must draft guy. Here on Underdog, obviously, just goes to the 1-2 turn. So being able to get Kelsey, Saquon Barkley, and then a different player in round 1, oh, that is just beautiful. That is beautiful. Jayan says, I went 2018. Game was bonkers. Kyler's first L in football. Yeah, I got it. Kyler Murray, talk about a story. Literally undefeated in high school. Like, wins the Heisman, goes #1 in the NFL draft. Like, Kyler Murray has that pedigree. Now we have Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans off the board here at the end of the second round. Earlier in a high stakes draft, I believe 2 days ago, we ended up getting Mike Evans in the early third. Which Mike Evans in the early third, I think that is going to be pretty exciting in a league like this where you specifically have to start 3 wide receivers. And we know it's going to be much harder to find wide receiver value later on. Now we have Tyreek Hill 24, and I have an idea. I think I know what we want to do at the 3-4 turn. Not too many people are going to be fans of it, but trust me on this. Trust me on this. There's a reason. Pedro coming out. Thank you, my friend, says, Mason, my guy, Dynasty Superflex. You have CeeDee Lamb. Would you trade him for Travis Etienne and Jalen Waddle? Or Travis Etienne and Amon-Ra St. Brown, or is CeeDee Lamb God this season? Specifically in Dynasty, if we can start 11 or more players where it's going to be that deeper format, I'm definitely going to go through. I'm trading CeeDee Lamb for not the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Travis Etienne package, but for the Jalen Waddle and Travis Etienne package. And obviously, CeeDee Lamb is by far and away the best asset in the deal, but it is funny to say that, hell, Jalen Waddle last year as a rookie outproduced CeeDee Lamb. Of course, we're not expecting that going forward, but Jalen Waddle is still a very respectable piece in Dynasty Fantasy Football. Okay, Nick Chubb going 28. Honestly, one of my favorite things to do here is just go through, grab those 2 wide receivers, and then still get Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette in the 3rd round on Underdog. I mean, great value there. Great value. So we have T. Higgins going 29. I have noticed Higgins falling more and more. Like earlier this offseason, T. Higgins was a player that was consistently going before A.J. Brown, consistently going before Kyle Pitts. He was always going before Michael Pittman, usually going before Nick Chubb as well. But now you rarely ever see T. Higgins in that range where he's more so a pick in the middle of the 3rd, which I like T. Higgins at this price. I definitely think in a league where, I mean, on a start where we go wide receiver at the gate, I definitely prefer taking Nick Chubb there, but T. Higgins is still a very strong option in this format in particular. So let's swing this around. DJ Moore off the board. So trust me on this. I know y'all are not going to like it. I don't like it, but there's a reason for this. You got to wait about 10 minutes and you'll see the reason. Just give me about 10 minutes. After that, if you still disagree, feel free to call me stupid, leave the live stream. Give me 10 minutes though. Give me 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Courtland Sutton, pick 34. I'd imagine that you have Josh Allen off the board here, but no, Jalen Waddle goes 35. Sounds like this Waddle injury is not something we actually have to be worried about. Thank God, because I've drafted a lot of Jalen Waddle. Y'all know I have Jalen Waddle ranked before Courtland Sutton, but there's a reason I'm doing this. Now, looking at the Underdog line on Waddle week 1, I will say I'm somewhat interested in going through and taking a Jalen Waddle over, even though I really don't like taking overs in general, but it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. Okay. So now we have Caden deciding to go James Conner 36 to pair up with Saquon Barkley and Travis Etienne. And he goes Josh Allen 47. Very rarely are you going to see Josh Allen fall to the 4th round. I think it's great value on Allen. If we weren't doing something, if we didn't have a plan here, if we did not have a plan, we would have been taking Josh Allen over Courtland Sutton. But let's go Jerry Jeudy instead. Let's get this Denver Broncos stack at the 3-4 turn. So far, we got Devontae Adams, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver, Najee Harris at running back. Let's roll with it. It's much better, much better, considering the fact that there's no Tim Patrick now in Denver. But, I mean, I saw people doing this before Tim Patrick went down. And if that was going to be the case, that would have been very, very tough. Okay. Josh says, Flock, scroll up. I literally predicted you taking third round Courtland Sutton. Okay. Okay, my man. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. But let's see if you can predict our 5th round pick. What do you think we're doing at 58? What do you think we're doing at 63? Obviously, we don't know exactly who's going to be on the board at this point, but I'd love to know what you're thinking. Now we have Justin Herbert off the board here, 42. So just stacking up with Mike Williams. I mean, I think it's fine if we're assuming that you are not going to get Lamar Jackson, not going to get Patrick Mahomes on the way back around in the 5th. I mean, I think if you take Herbert here, pick 42, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a team where you have Patrick Mahomes available to in the 5th round, probably be kicking yourself, even if you already have the Mike Williams stack. Okay, so OJ's Broncos says, I don't trust Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton, too many injuries. I'll say, I'm not a massive fan of Courtland Sutton at his ADP, but what's very funny is y'all know how we've come out all offseason. We've been talking about how Courtland Sutton's a bad value in the 3rd round on Underdog as like the wide receiver 14. We have him ranked as the wide receiver 19. If you go look at Fantasy Pros ADP, in casual drafts, he's going as like the wide receiver 22. So if you're following our rankings, you may actually be drafting Courtland Sutton in a decent amount of just casual redraft leagues. Now we have Breece Hall off the board at 45. But the reason I am not worried about injuries with Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. I think if you're coming out here thinking that you can predict injuries in fantasy football, I think you're overconfident with your abilities. I still stand by the fact that injuries are not completely random. They're not completely random. Like I'm taking Jonathan Taylor over CMC. But 9 times out of 10, if you think you can predict an injury, you're doing yourself a disservice. We have Nigel coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says Dak, Justin Jefferson, David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Devin Singletary, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Pat Frymuth in a 12-team half PPR format. Okay. So we have 3 wide receiver 1s with Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen. I really like this team. Now, if we were looking to make moves, what I like about the squad in particular is because anybody can go out there, anybody can just take these values at the very top. I like the fact that we're stacking CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott. I also like the fact that specifically down there on the bench, we are focusing in on high upside players. We're not wasting roster spots on guys that have high floors but low ceilings. Someone like Marvin Jones would be the perfect example of that, even like a J.D. McKissick. Here, we're going and swinging for the fences with some of these rookies like a Rashad White, like George Pickens, like Jahan Dotson, where it is in the range of outcomes for one of these players to come out. And yes, of course, they can fail, but at the same time, they could smash this year. Jack says, what is the 24-hour live stream news? 24-hour live stream news is it's happening. It's happening on Monday. We have some pretty cool analysts coming on with us that I think y'all are going to be very excited about. So what I need from you, guys, we're doing a 24-hour live stream. Go down there, drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel so you're going to be able to come out here and you're going to be able to hang out with us in that 24-hour live stream. And for the love of God, we're going to need help filling these drafts. So please make sure you go sign up for an Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And most importantly, come out here and draft with us every single night in the live stream and really help us out in that 24 hours live stream draft. Okay. So now we have Darnell Mooney off the board here, 61. Brandon Ayuk off. There's a reason that we're doing this. There's a reason that we're doing this. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins falling. We just recorded a rankings video that's going to come out tomorrow that gives you my updated ranking of J.K. Dobbins. We are having to push him down. I really like the elite level quarterbacks in this range, but there's a reason we're doing it. Like I said, just give me some time. Give me some time. I know 99% of y'all probably already know. Okay. Josh says, Mason, I predicted DK Metcalf. Nice prediction, my friend. Nice prediction. And with J.K. Dobbins, I will say, if you're hopping in some underdog drafts right now, you're probably getting them a little later than this. Like, I don't think you have to take J.K. Dobbins at 63. Now, I've been taking J.K. Dobbins in the 5th round in a lot of these drafts. So, of course, my J.K. Dobbins call is looking like a train wreck at this point with Kenyon Drake coming over. What this indicates about the health of J.K. Dobbins and his availability at the beginning of the season. But still, I think he's an elite level talent. I think it's a great situation as well. So let's go ahead. Let's take J.K. Dobbins at 63. There's definitely a risk with this pick, but if there was no risk with the pick, J.K. Dobbins would be going in the 2nd round. He wouldn't be going this far. Okay. Now, Damian Pierce, 67. And Sharon says, what's the cause for J.K. Dobbins' fall? Kenyon Drake isn't even good. It's not that you're worried about Kenyon Drake coming in and Kenyon Drake being the starting running back here for Baltimore. You're not worried about that at all. But what you need to be worried about is you need to be worried about what this may mean. What does this mean for J.K. Dobbins' health? What is the coaching staff telling us here? If they feel the need to go through and bolster this running back room with the addition of Kenyon Drake, when we're getting viral clips of J.K. Dobbins limping off the field during drills, trust me, guys, I've been drafting a lot of Dobbins. Y'all have seen me drafting a lot of Dobbins over the past month. We weren't drafting him nearly as much earlier on in the offseason, but over the past month, we have been taking him a decent amount, especially once you had Gus Edwards placed in the PUP. We got to be worried. We can't sit here and act like the J.K. Dobbins edition means absolutely nothing for J.K. Dobbins here. Let's see this. We got Devonta Smith off the board, 73. Lance falls behind Burrow. Have not seen Trey Lance go behind Joe Burrow in quite some time. I mean, this is something you're never expecting to see anymore. Trey Lance, for probably a month straight, went before Joe Burrow by almost a round. I guess, is Lance falling? Is he slipping just because Jimmy Garoppolo is back in San Francisco? They restructured the deal. It would be interesting if you actually get a discount on Lance now because of this. But we have Nigel coming out again. Thank you, my friend. Says, did I make a mistake at the end of the 6th round taking David Montgomery? The available players were Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cam Akers, Gabriel Davis, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Josh Jacobs. Based on the team that you had, where you already had 3 wide receiver ones, and knowing that in a casual redraft format, you were still going to be able to find that high upside wide receiver value later on, I do not think you made a mistake going running back. I think you could have decided to go through and take a Cam Akers instead, but if you were worried about the injuries here, it is what it is. I mean, you can go ahead and you can take David Montgomery over Akers. But if you were playing in like a high stakes league, yeah, probably would be a bad call for you to go through. Probably be a bad call for you to take David Montgomery at that point. And Noah, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Block country, let's fly. Block country, let's fly. Block country, oh, let's fly. Block. Noah out here sniping us. Literally the only reason we took Sutton in the 3rd, so we could get Jerry Jeudy in the 4th. We could then take Russell Wilson, and we could have the double stack with the Denver Broncos. That's the only reason we did that. Him out here sniping us when he has no players from Denver. Oh, my man. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? Now, AJR Plays coming out, says 12-team PPR league. We got Stafford, Chubb, Travis Etienne, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Allen Robinson, George Kittle. Okay, let's go back to that 1 second. First, let's go through. Let's take Amari Cooper. I mean, I think we're going to get a running back that we like, making it back around to us. I'm a little less excited about Clyde Edwards-Helaire now that we have Ronald Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire all making the 53-man roster. All making the team. So we're going to be worried. And if this was a tournament-style draft, we'd go DeAndre Hopkins. But given the fact that this is a private draft where you have no fantasy football playoffs, going to be significantly harder to take a player that we know is going to miss that portion of the beginning of the season. Okay, Tony Pollard off the board. Let's go ahead. Let's take Kadarius Toney based on the reports we're getting out of New York about Sterling Shepard not being good to go. Not only is Sterling Shepard not good to go, but at the same time, Kenny Galladay's looking bad. Our plans were definitely ruined when we were not able to take Russell Wilson in the 7th. Plans were definitely ruined, but I think at this point we go Tony, a lot of these wide receivers slide up the board afterwards. Of course, we're just doing this because we're drafting on Underdog where you have to start 3 wide receivers. And it's best ball, so I think we were going to get fine running back values at the 9-10 turn. But let's go, Tony. And then going back to AJR plays. So here we have Stafford. I'll say Stafford provides you a very high floor at the quarterback position. Like, we almost know exactly what Matthew Stafford's going to give us. Like, with Matthew Stafford here, I think we would all be very surprised if he was not a top 12, 13, 14. Like, he's going to be a low-end quarterback one. But at the same time, given the fact that he is legitimately going to have a total of, 10 rushing yards, 0 rushing touchdowns, it's so hard for him to have the same type of ceiling that we're going to get with those quarterbacks that can actually run the ball. So Stafford, I'm not a massive fan of him in casual redraft leagues because what's the real ceiling? And it sucks to say this. Like, I'm actually going to try to play in more leagues that have 6-point passing touchdowns going forward because I think in a 6-point passing touchdown league, then it's not like the only thing we care about is rushing production for quarterbacks. But assuming it's a 4-point passing touchdown league, I'm not a massive fan of Stafford here. Chubb and Etienne, I think it's a strong running back core. Love that we have Kupp. Having Kupp and that Stafford stack is going to make it more appealing for me because you are betting that Stafford could potentially lead the NFL in passing. Yeah, we have the double stack with Allen Robinson. So never mind. Even though I don't love Matthew Stafford in general, where we want to roster him are on teams where we have Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. Great play. We have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle as well. Maybe if we could trade Stafford in a small bench wide receiver and get to Trey Lance with some rushing upside, then maybe it makes sense because we'll still have the Deebo Samuel and George Kittle double stack. But I really like the team. Really like the team. Colin says 12-team PPR where we got Dak, Javonte, Ezekiel Elliott, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. Okay, so we have the double stack with Zeke and CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott. We get tight end. We have Irv Smith Jr., obviously an option with some upside. Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Melvin Gordon, Rashad White, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Boyd, Jacoby Myers, and Romeo Doubs. I really like the team. I would say when we're looking at guys like Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown on our bench, and Tyler Boyd, I would make the argument that Jacoby Myers almost doesn't do anything for us here. Like, yes, Jacoby Myers probably outscores every other player that's on the waiver wire right now from a median projection standpoint. But what's the true ceiling that you have with Jacoby Myers? I would say that the ceiling is actually going to be severely capped with him, where I would be interested if we could potentially go through, if we could potentially look to, obviously you're not trading him. Nobody's going to give you anything. Just move off of Jacoby Myers. Try to pick up a waiver wire wide receiver that may have a significantly lower floor, is probably going to be worse, but has a higher ceiling. Someone like Christian Watson is the perfect example. But I really like the team overall. I just think with those last bench spots, I'm trying to chase the highest ceiling possible, not necessarily caring about their floor. Mike coming out. Thank you. My friend says, second pick in a 2 quarterback, 2 wide receiver, double flex, 12-team at PPR format. Do I go JT if Allen goes 1 or do I go quarterback? Specifically in this draft, where if we do some quick math, quarterbacks are making 25% of your starting lineup requirements. So knowing that they're scoring more than every other position, they're probably going to be accounting for 35, 40% of your starting lineup output every single week. Go through, hammer a quarterback in early. If Josh Allen goes 1, take Justin Herbert. If we had a bunch of flex spots, then maybe it would be different, but with only 2, definitely go that way. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Obviously, at this point, we are looking for running back. I'm assuming the report on Miles Sanders today is not practicing. Oh my gosh, the biggest surprise of the live stream. Miles Sanders practices Thursday. Every single day for the past month, we pulled up this Miles Sanders report. Every single day, it's been the same report out of Philadelphia. Miles Sanders, not practicing. Miles Sanders, not practicing. Miles Sanders, not practicing. Over and over and over again. Thank God he's out here. Thank God he's actually practicing. Definitely something that we still need to monitor going into the season. But I would be much more excited to draft him now. And we have James Cook off the board here, 104. Let's see what we're going to get. Matthew Stafford off the board. Let's go ahead. Let's take Damian Harris. No, I'm not a massive Damian Harris guy, but I don't necessarily think we need wide receivers here when we have 6 receivers in general. If we're looking at the quarterbacks, I mean, Derek Carr is someone we can get on the way back around. And yeah, we can take Derek Carr. We can stack him up with Devontae Adams. Devin Singletary's off. Tyler Boyd. So I think we're Derek Carr or Cordell Patterson. Let's see what we get. In Breezy, on the clock, goes Jalen Tolbert to get the Dak double stack. I'm not a Tolbert guy here. I'm definitely not a Tolbert guy. I will take Derek Carr. I think with Carr, like he's very similar to Stafford, who we were talking about earlier. Like, yeah, sure, he can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in passing, but at the end of the day, is it actually going to matter? Like from a fantasy football standpoint, in a casual redraft league, you can never be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy, or it'd be very, very hard for that to happen. But in best ball, of course, it's going to be a little bit different, where we are supposed to draft multiple quarterbacks. Now, Nigel coming out again says, crazy part in my draft in a 12-team half PPR league. At the 206, Davante Adams was available. I took Javonte instead, got lucky to get CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen after. This is what we've been talking about on the live stream. Like, it's crazy to say this. And if you look at like the rankings that we put out in our draft guide, or the rankings that we put out, just say on the videos, they're going to look completely different of what we're doing in these underdog drafts. Because in those casual redraft leagues, you're getting ridiculous wide receiver value. Like, you got CeeDee Lamb in the 3rd round. So obviously in a vacuum, it's easy to say, oh no, why would you ever pass on Davante Adams for Javonte Williams? But then you learn, oh, because you got CeeDee Lamb round 3, Keenan Allen round 4. I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense. Okay. So now we have Cordell Patterson, Melvin Gordon off the board at running back. Cordell Patterson falling to 116. I understand, obviously, bad offense. I understand a lot of people are worried, but at the same time, 116. He was the running back 15 on a points per game basis last year. Okay. And if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like in the live stream. We had 300 likes. We're going to fire up another draft after this, but I'm imagining there's a 100% chance that happens. I'm imagining we hit 300 likes quite easily. I mean, how many people do we have out here right now? Yeah, we almost have 700 people out here. If you have not dropped a like, do so. Subscribe to the channel. We hit 90,000 subscribers. We are firing up that 24-hour live stream on Monday, which at this rate, it looks like that's almost guaranteed. Okay, so we have a question. Says, Mason, did you see the news on Marcus May? Now, let me pull this up. No, I did not see that. But now we have a lot of running backs off the board here at the end of the 10th. Not great for us. I mean, right now at running back, I guess we took Damien Harris. We have 3 guys. We're definitely going to need to be able to get some tight end value later on. Y'all know there is a tight end that I like at the 11-12 turn. I don't know if he's going to be available to us, because usually when we're drafting with y'all, usually like to go out there and snipe us on our guys. It's a lot harder for us to get Michael Gallup on these live streams. It's a lot harder for us to possibly get this tight end as well, but we'll see. We'll see. But Gallup went at 113 here. I love it. Y'all know, I mean, I've been advocating to go out there and hammer in Michael Gallup at his ADP. And if I've been screaming that he is an unbelievable value at his ADP, I think you should be able to, I think we should be able to stand by the fact that you reach around on him and it's still a strong value as well. Not as good as when you were getting him in like round 13. But still, very good. Let's swing this back around. Cole Kmet off the board here at 126 by Noah. I guess we could have gone Kmet. We could have got Justin Fields on the way back around. Devontae Parker, 127. I think we're going to get our guy. I think we're good. There are 2 different players to be looking at. Isaiah Pacheco off the board, 128. I'm not a massive fan of the Isaiah Pacheco value here if we're considering the fact that you do have Ronald Jones making the team. I know Isaiah Pacheco looks like he's playing over Ronald Jones, but at the same time, like with Rojo making the team, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire were to go down, then all of a sudden you're looking at this still being a split backfield. It's a split backfield almost no matter what. Pat Frymuth off the board, 131. I thought we were going to go Pat Frymuth, but it is what it is. When we get Russell Gage falling to us at 130, I'm fine taking Gage in this format. And because this is a private draft and this is not a tournament style draft, I think that we're not going to be as incentivized to go through and draft the 8th wide receiver. I think that instead maybe we go both 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends, depending on how the board falls. But yeah, let's see. Nigel coming out again says start 2 quarterbacks with the Superflex League, aka a 3 quarterback league. It's a 10-teamer. Okay, yeah. I mean, go through, hammer in these guys early. I would say if you look at the Superflex drafts we did on the live stream earlier a couple of weeks ago on Underdog Fantasy, I think that those should help a decent amount just to see when there's that run on quarterbacks happening. It's very important for you to go grab your guy. Of course, I cover Dynasty fantasy football like 365 days a year. And when we talk Dynasty, the only thing I talk about is Superflex. But here, quarterbacks are going to be even more valuable, especially if we're going to be assuming that we're not starting like 11, 12 guys. Like say you have a starting lineup that's made up of only 9 total players and 3 of them can be quarterback. That means 33% of your starting lineup requirements are going to be made up of the quarterback position. And then the output's probably going to be closer to 50%. Like we're going QB, QB, QB. Now, if we're picking out like the end of the first, and I obviously stay flexible, but my initial thought going into that would be quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. Okay. But Justin Fields off the board, 140 finally. Love the Justin Fields value. Been talking about him a lot this year. I think his value this year is significantly better than what it was a year ago because he has that rushing upside. Maybe he is similar to Jalen Hurts where all of a sudden, yeah, he's a bad quarterback, but he's still a decent fantasy option just given the fact that this is a player that can rack up 40 rushing yards a game. I don't necessarily know if it's guaranteed, but it's possible. Suk coming out says, do you like Dawson Knox this year? I've really not liked the Dawson Knox value all offseason. I thought that there's no reason to take Dawson Knox when you can just get someone like Robert Tonyan off the waiver wire. I was never really advocating for anybody to go through and draft Knox. But to be honest with you, he is now more appealing. I don't have a lot of them, but when you have O.J. Howard gone, obviously O.J. Howard wasn't necessarily a great player, and O.J. Howard wasn't going to be the starting tight end here, but I thought there was a chance that he would spell Dawson Knox, especially if we assume that O.J. Howard was a slightly better run blocker. With no O.J. Howard in Buffalo, I think it speaks of what this Buffalo Bills coaching staff thinks of Dawson Knox. And at the same time, I think he has a better overall role this upcoming season. Matt coming out says, 10T PPR. Looks like I'll get Mixon at the 109. Should I take Kamara or Saquon Barkley at the 202? Specifically in a 10-team shallow redraft league, honestly, my friend, I think we're going Kelsey round 1, and I think you're getting one of your running backs on the way back around. Personally, I have Saquon Barkley ranked one spot before Austin Eckler. I do think it's pretty much up to you with whatever you want to do, but as it stands currently, I think I prefer going Kelsey 109 and then take whoever falls between Mixon, Kamara, and Saquon on the way back around. Steven says, got your guide. I love it. Thank you, my friend. Steven, let me know, did you get our guide on flockfantasy.com or did you get it by signing up for Underdog and using promo code FLOCK? Let me know which way you got it. But thank you. Thank you. Now, Gerald Everett off the board at 151. Noah goes Brian Robinson here, 150. Nigel says, so happy to get Justin Jefferson at the 105. Love the stream. Thank you, my friend, of course, for coming out, hanging out with us in the live stream, and thank you for all the support. Now, Matt Ryan off the board, 152. What's the report with Albert O here? Downplays lower body injury. Let's read this. Albert O was held out of Broncos preseason finale as well as practice Wednesday due to a lower body issue, but added that he could have played Saturday if it had been a regular season contest. Okay, if that's the case, I'm not worried at all. If he could have played a week ago, let's go ahead. Let's take Albert O. We really need a tight end. I don't even think we necessarily need another receiver considering the fact that this is a private draft, not a tournament style. Yeah. So let's go Albert O here. I don't necessarily think we have to think too much about it either. And we are about to pass 350 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody who's gone down there and dropped a like in the stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream, fix your life, subscribe to the channel. We are getting a 24-hour live stream going. A 24-hour live stream going on Monday. Assuming we hit 90,000 subscribers, which at this point, I think is highly likely. Now, Robbie Anderson off the board to Caden at 156. I know what we want. I don't necessarily know if we are going to get exactly what we want, but I think we can assume so. Now, Nico Collins goes 157. Yeah, we were wanting tight end. I didn't know if we were going to get Njoku or Hunter Henry. Let's go ahead. Let's take Hunter Henry here, and I don't necessarily think that we have to think twice about it. And if this was going to be a tournament-style draft on Underdog, I probably wouldn't take another. But considering the fact that it's a private draft and these tight ends can slide into our flex spots as well, I'm not going to be opposed of just going through and possibly adding another tight end to the mix. Even though, like I said, if you're drafting on like Best Ball Mania or something on Underdog, then that's not going to happen. And I got great news for everybody as well. Not only are we doing the 24-hour live stream draft marathon on Monday, but Underdog tweeted out Puppy 4 on Monday. I don't know if you saw this, but thank God we get the Puppy 4. Because you know what's going to happen now. We're going to hop in that live stream. We are going to draft the winning Puppy 4 team. Probably win like $100,000. And then it will go down as the biggest moment in YouTube fantasy football history. Okay. Now we have Isaiah Spiller off the board at 164. I mean, with Isaiah Spiller, let me know what you're thinking, but I am personally, I'm very worried. I am very worried with the addition of Sony Michel in that I think that if Austin Eckler were to go down, this is just a straight up committee backfield and nothing more. Like, even if Austin Eckler were to go down, I don't necessarily think we can come out here and we can assume that we have any type of real ceiling with Isaiah Spiller. Now that we have the addition of Sony Michel, we are getting reports earlier saying that, I hate to say this out loud, but Joshua Palmer was going to be playing over Isaiah Spiller. I don't know. I think that this is a clear spot to go through. Fade Spiller, even though he is a part of a great offense. Eric says, I'm off the Isaiah Spiller train. Sony Michel is good. I don't want to say he's good, but I think he's good enough to have a role. Now we have Elon says Josh Allen or Justin Herbert week 1. Okay, so I know Allen's going up against the Rams. Let me look up what the Herbert matchup is. I'm sorry, Josh Allen's going up against the Rams. The Chargers week 1 going up against the Raiders. I think you go Josh Allen just simply for the fact that they're playing Thursday night. Let's have something to root for. Let's have a rush as early as Thursday. And guys, are we 1 week away from football? Derek says he finally maxed out Best Ball Mania. Derek, let me know. Do you think the drafts were softer this week than they were like a month ago? Because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that the drafts, like Thomas reached out to me earlier, telling me that the Underdog drafts the Best Ball Mania drafts that he had this week were much softer than what he had previously. Okay. So now we have Van Jefferson off the board at 173. Okay, I think there are a couple different things we can do. Let's see what Kickers Lives Matter's done. Kickers Lives Matter used to draft with us all the time last year. Herbert Lawrence at quarterback. Receiver is Diggs, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, Christian Kirk, Devontae Parker. Took Gerald Everett for the double stack with the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's see what they decide to do here. Ooh, I did not see this Golladay report. So Kenny Golladay went under an unspecified procedure that resulted in him missing some time back in the spring. Golladay dealt with a hip, knee, groin, and rib issues while suiting up for 14 games with the Giants last season. Oh, dear gosh. So I guess that's possibly why Galladay's looked so bad during training camp. Let's go through. Honestly, we're just going to take Mac Jones here as our second quarterback. We have Damian Harris and Mac Jones. That doesn't really matter. We have Hunter Henry. And if we're looking at the teams behind us, Caden only has one QB. Caden's sitting here with Josh Allen, so maybe he decides not to go with another guy anytime soon. But still. And Roy coming out, thank you, my friend, says 2 quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 super flex. The only thing that matters in this format is quarterback. The only thing that matters in this format is quarterback. Let me read this out loud one more time after we make our pick here. Tannehill off the board, 181. I think Jarrett McKinnon's probably a little less appealing now that we have. We'll go McKinnon. I think he's less appealing considering the fact that you have Rojo, you have Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire all on the roster. Maybe make the argument that Jarrett McKinnon has the clear role as the passing down running back here in Kansas City. But still. But yeah, going back and looking at this league. So first starting 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, a running back, a tight end, and a super flex. Now, I'm no mathematician. I'm no mathematician. I'm no rocket scientist. But we are starting 7 total players. 7 total guys. And 3 of them are quarterback. Almost half of our starting lineups made up from the quarterback position. The position that's also going to score the most points. There's obviously a limited amount of these guys. I would have gone 4 quarterbacks out the gate. Like, if there was a starting quarterback on the board, I take them. Like, in this format, I'm taking probably Justin Fields over Jonathan Taylor. And I know that sounds crazy, but the thing is, in a shallow league like this, we're going to be able to work the waiver wire for those running backs, for those receivers. Dear God, you want to be able to have that at QB. So we have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Thank God. No idea how that happened. No idea how we got that. Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Fields. Okay, yeah, you're crushing your league. Lamb, Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Kadarius Toney. Running back, Barkley, Akers, Dobbins, tight end, Cole Kmet. I am assuming that this is only a 8-team league. I'm assuming that this is a very small format. Let me know how many teams are here. I do think, considering the fact that you only have 7 starters as well, it's very important to grab the elite level tight end. So if we could go through, if we could trade, say, Saquon Barkley and Cole Kmet, and we can bring in Travis Kelce, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. I'll do it for Mark Andrews as well, because you only have to start 1 running back. Okay. 10-team league. I have no idea. No idea what your league mates were doing. Tuggleberry says, thoughts on drafting security running backs in best ball? Draft your own or other guys? I'm assuming you mean handcuff running backs in best ball. I would say in large field best ball tournament contests, maybe it's a unique way to go through and sneak a player to the overall tournament. I am more okay with drafting handcuffs in best ball than I would be in a league where you have access to the waiver wire. Alan says, yo, Mason, I hope you get a more comfortable chair before the live stream. My friend, hey, this chair is from Costco, okay? I don't know if you know anything about Costco, but only the highest of quality. I don't think it gets more comfortable than that. Okay, let's swing this back over. And, of course, we are going to fire up another draft after this one. Don't go anywhere. I'm probably going to make these. Yeah, I'll make both of these picks for y'all on the live stream. We have Gus Edwards off the board, 197. Goff fell to 195. Very interesting to see Jared Goff fall that far. Deshaun Watson goes to Noah at 198. B3 says, are you really streaming for 24 hours? I don't know how we're going to do it, but yes, I am. I don't know how it's going to... It's going to be the hardest thing I've probably ever done in my entire life, which is showing you that I've had a pretty easy life. But Monday, we're streaming for 24 hours straight. For the love of God, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up. I need you drafting with us. And when you use promo code FLOCK, of course, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. Kenny Pickett off the board, 200. I think we have the easiest pick in the world here. I think we have the easiest pick in the world. Mark Ingram off. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Logan Thomas. If we were playing in a league that had the fantasy football tournament at the very end of the season, then sure, you can make the argument, Mason, don't go Logan Thomas here. You're good with the 2 tight ends that you drafted with Alberto and Hunter Henry. But specifically in private drafts, when we wait this far, I'm going to be way more willing to sacrifice the 8th wide receiver, to sacrifice the 6th running back, and grab a 3rd tight end, grab a 3rd quarterback as well. Carson Wentz off the board here, 203. Crap, that kind of does mess with our plans. But specifically in these private drafts, as I've already discussed, I'm way more willing to grab that third quarterback. So we're going to take Marcus Mariota. Let me fill up our next draft. So this is going to be a $3 draft on Underdog, of course. So let's grab this link, and I'm going to send this out in the live chat right now for everybody. Okay, we just sent that out. Assuming that's going to fill immediate. Mason Fu coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says, hey, Mason, just drafted a 12-team PPR redraft league where we got Lance Higgins, DJ Moore, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Robert Tonyan, Cam Akers, Breece Hall, Chris Godwin, Hopkins, Pickens, Scott. Okay, well, yeah, you're crushing the league. I mean, if we were to come out and say to make any move in particular, of course, the easiest thing to say would be let's go and try to trade for a tight end. If we were going to try to trade for a tight end, I would really like to bring in Kittle, considering the fact that with this team in particular, we have Trey Lance, so I think we can get some natural correlation. If we're going to be sending an offer for George Kittle, I think the offer for Kittle is going to probably just end up being, I mean, if we could go Godwin and Tonyan and get George Kittle on the way back, I think that'd be very exciting. I mean, Hopkins and Tonyan get Kittle, Akers and Tonyan get Kittle, any of those bench players and Tonyan for Kittle. Antonio Garcia coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says, should I stream the Bengals defense against the Steelers or the Commanders against the Jags? I'm starting Travis Etienne. I'm not big on starting a defense against my running back too. I am honestly not going to care too much about that. I think we just play the best play. And personally, I think if we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars with the turnovers that we saw from Lawrence last year, I'm going to be playing Washington against the Jags. Let me real quick look up the spreads on these games. So we have Christian McCaffrey off the board here at 1, going before Jonathan Taylor. Something we saw a lot more, I want to say like maybe a week ago than we do now. Okay, so we have Washington favored by 3. What are the Bengals favored by? 6.5. I guess you could go with the Bengals, knowing that you are going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers trailing the majority of the game. They are going to have to look to throw the ball. They're looking to throw the ball. You can generate sacks. You can generate turnovers. Yeah, so let's go ahead. I'm not too worried about having Travis Etienne going up against our defense. Not saying to start the Cincinnati Bengals for that reason, but I will start the Bengals versus the Steelers just because we're assuming that the Steelers offense may struggle with Trubisky early on, and especially if the spread's 6.5 on this game and they should be trailing the majority of the time. X Broman coming in. Thank you, my friend. Says, back in the flock. Let's go. Thank you. Says, would you still take Kelsey at the 109 and whichever running back in a regular redraft if you had to start 3 wide receivers in the league? If not, what's a better strategy at 9? So definitely, when you add those starters into your starting lineup, I am significantly less likely to go with the elite level tight end. The reason that we are going with that elite level tight end where you only start 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex is because the tight end position is just going to make up such a high percentage of your starting lineup output every single week. And at the same time, it's going to be very easy to find waiver wire options at the other positions. So here, I think you have to be a lot more flexible in a league where you start 3 wide receivers. Like specifically, if this was the draft board with how it fell to us, I probably would have decided to go Joe Mixon at pick 9. And then on the way back around at 16, like I probably would end up going DeAndre Swift. So I think you just stay a lot more flexible and you don't try to necessarily fit one thing in a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers. But Cameron coming out says, seen yesterday in my home league. Oh my gosh, Matthew Stafford. That's why home leagues are so easy to win. Dear God, if you're used to drafting in a lot of underdog drafts, and then you go step into a home league draft, you are just going to crush everyone. We'll go ahead. We'll take Deebo Samuel. Specifically on Underdog, you have to start 3 wide receivers. I am very worried about Deebo Samuel for a couple different reasons. I don't think he scores 8 rushing touchdowns again. I think that Lance probably doesn't look for a wide receiver that has such a low average depth of target as often as what we saw from Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think there are real concerns that you have here. But at the same time, it is what it is. We're going to have to start 3 of these wide receivers every single week. This is going to push guys up in the middle rounds. So let's go ahead. Let's just take them here. Okay, and I'm sorry. If you are new to the live chat, we usually say this all the time, but there are very few rules that we have for the chat. You're allowed to come out here and tell me I don't know what I'm doing. You're allowed to come out here and tell me I'm an idiot. You're allowed to come out here and tell me I'm ugly. The one thing you cannot do is you can't come out here and spam the chat over and over again with your question, because if you do that, you're ruining the chat for everyone else. Okay, so now we have Mark Andrews off the board here, pick 23. I honestly think Andrews probably would have been the option we went with if we weren't taking Deebo Samuel in the second. But I do want to flex on y'all real quick. I was looking at some of our previous drafts earlier this year, and in our $1,000 draft, so the highest stakes draft I did this year was a $1,000 draft on Underdog. We got CMC falling to us at pick 4. We took CMC. And we got Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley at 21. And we had A.J. Brown at 29. We had CMC, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown all in the same squad in that $1,000 draft. So exciting there. And we even had some crazy values making it to us later on as well. Oh, are we going to get Kyle Pitts with this build? Very rarely do you get Kyle Pitts falling to here in the middle of the third anymore. Usually, used to be able to get Kyle Pitts very often. No, Kyle Pitts goes. The Daxbury boys, still the best name on Underdog in my opinion. So Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, it's literally a coin flip with who you see go before each other in these drafts. As of lately, I've been seeing more and more Mike Williams. I'm standing by the fact that I prefer Keenan Allen. I prefer the wide receiver where we have seen the target share maintain an elite level mark for a very long time now. Let's go ahead. Let's take Keenan Allen. If Mike Williams crushes us, Mike Williams crushes us. But when we start Austin Eckler and Allen through the first 3 rounds, we're definitely going to be looking for Justin Herbert on the way back around at pick 43 to get that double stack. Okay. Real quick, thank you so much for everybody coming out and hopping into the draft with us. If you want to see another draft, go down there, drop a like. If we hit 700 likes in the live stream, we are going to fire up another draft for this one. I don't know if I can keep on doing just 4-hour drafts every single night, 3 4-hour drafts every night when we have the 24-hour live stream on Monday. When we have the 24-hour live stream on Monday, we're probably going to have to cool it a little bit here. Like if we have a ton of support, if we have a ton of people out here, then I'll toughen up. We'll live stream for a while tonight. But I think we do need to save our voice for Monday because I have no idea what we're going to be doing then. Tyler says, how did I do in the last draft? We are at pick 5. Puckett. Okay, let me go through and pull this up. But Josh Allen falls to pick 35 again. Is this a trend? Have you seen Allen falling more and more in these drafts? Let me know. Because I feel like in the last draft, what? Josh Allen went at pick like 37? Sorry, I'm trying to find that other draft we were just in. Okay. So Brandon Cooks off the board. I mean, Brandon Cooks is going to slide us some value. Like I said, at this point, when we have Justin Herbert, when we had Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen, we were going to be looking for Justin Herbert. It is what it is. I guess we just continue to build around Los Angeles. This time with the Los Angeles Rams, we go Allen Robinson here at pick 43. And Riz coming out says, pick a side. We got Lamar or Drake London, a 2023 first, second, and Juju Smith-Schuster. And a 12-team Superflex Dynasty League, I still think we have to go ahead. We have to take, oh no, this is Jamar, not Lamar. I still think we have to take Jamar Chase, if we're going to be honest. Okay, so Puckett in the other draft. At quarterback, Lamar and Justin Fields. Definitely think if you have those two guys, you're done drafting. We go with the 2-7-7-2 build. I used to do this a couple months ago over there on Underdog. Yeah, Darren Waller and Erskine Jr. at tight end. I think that's a strong 2 tight end pairing. Running back, Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, Kareem Hunt, Cordell Patterson, Isaiah Spiller, Gus Edwards, Chuba Hubbard. I like the team. I would say that in these private drafts, though, where we don't have the fantasy football playoffs at the very end of the season, you can't be taking Gus Edwards because obviously he's going to miss the beginning portion of the year as well. And also with the Kenyon Drake edition, I feel like you just got to take almost anybody else. Like, I feel like taking Kenyon Drake would be a better pick. So now we have Patrick Mahomes off the board here, 51. Let's slide this back over. I mean, we have been seeing Breece Hall fall more and more. We have NFL Blitz taking Darren Waller from us. We would have decided to go through and take Darren Waller if he would have fallen to 54. Okay, we're going to get Jerry Jeudy. We're going to get Jerry Jeudy 54. Jerry Jeudy wasn't going this low before the Tim Patrick injury. I really like this. Kyle coming out with a massive donation. Thank you, my friend. Says, appreciate all the streams this offseason. Best of luck this year, except the drafts I'm in with you. Thank you, my friend. I'll say the drafts that I'm in with you, Kyle, we don't need luck. And I did tweet this out a while ago. I do feel very bad for everybody who drafts with us. If, like, you're in my fantasy football league, like if you're in Kyle where you're getting in these drafts with us on Underdog Fantasy, if you were in a Dynasty league with us, I legitimately feel bad for you because playing for second place can't be fun. Like, the fun of sports is thinking that anybody has a shot to win. Like the Cincinnati Bengals last year, going all the way down to the Super Bowl, going from a team that nobody believed in to possibly winning it all. Like, that's what makes sports fun. But obviously, if you're in a draft with us, that can't be your mindset. You just kind of got to take your L. No, okay, yeah, this one's not going to be mine. We're playing for second place. Mason already is locked up first. But thank you, my friend. Of course, wishing you the best of luck. Okay. So now we have Adam Thielen going off the board here, 61. A little early for Adam Thielen. I'm definitely taking Akers over Adam Thielen. I'm taking Akers over Adam Thielen. I don't even think twice about it, regardless of what our construction is. Especially if we don't have a single running back and you get Cam Akers falling to at 61. I think we have to go through. I think we have to take him. So let's swing this back around. Elijah Moore off the board, 63. David Montgomery goes 65. I guess, are we really taking A.J. Dillon over J.K. Dobbins? I guess we'll take, like, if you look at my rankings, I am 100% going to have J.K. Dobbins over A.J. Dillon. 100% going to. But when we're drafting like 700 teams here on Underdog Fantasy, when A.J. Dillon has an ADP in the 5th round and we're getting him at pick 67, let's go through and let's take him. I honestly prefer J.K. Dobbins in a vacuum, but we're drafting over 700 of these teams. We have to diversify sometimes. Okay. Carlos says Puppy 4 on Monday. It's official. Also, what's official is we are drafting a 24-hour live stream on Monday. So we are going to be drafting 1 million of those Puppy 4 drafts. So if you want to draft with us on Underdog, of course, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Link in the live chat, link in the description of the video. Go sign up with promo code FLOCK. You can draft with us tonight, tomorrow night, all day Monday, literally 24 hours on Monday. And you can draft in the public lobby, draft with your friends, whatever you want to do. Go sign up, use promo code FLOCK. You'll get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And you'll do me a massive favor by getting in those drafts with us. So now, at this point, what are we looking for? We have Trey Lance off the board, 72. Drake London goes 73. I know what we're looking for. I know what I want. I know what I want, specifically because we're on the live stream. Chase Edmonds goes. We have moved up Edmonds in our rankings. Kevin coming out, thank you, my friend, says, PPR startup. Okay, so if you don't know what a startup is, a Dynasty fantasy football. I was sent the 305, 407, 705 for my 107. Should I take it? If so, who should I target to those picks, given I won't have a pick in round 1? I'm very sorry. I can't tell you exactly who to be targeting in like the 3rd, 4th, and 7th round, unless we actually saw the draft board in your league in particular. But what I will say is if this is a super flex startup where you can start 10 or more players, you take it. But I know that a lot of people are getting into Dynasty at this time of year, and those people getting into Dynasty, some of them are playing in a shallower league. But we get sniped on our guy. We get sniped on Russell Wilson. That sucks. I guess we go ahead. We take Dalton Schultz. Very similar to what we were discussing earlier with A.J. Dillon. Like, I haven't been drafting a lot of Dalton Schultz when Dalton Schultz has an ADP. Previously, he was being drafted at like the beginning of the 6th round. Now he has an ADP at the 6-7 turn. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of that price point, but we don't have a tight end here. We can go Dalton Schultz. We can also set ourselves up with the ability to go Dak Prescott on the way back around to pick 91. But Antonio Garcia coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Gabriel Davis. I need 2 for wide receiver 3 and a flex. I also have Mark Andrews at tight end. How do you feel about Bateman and Andrews in the same lineup? Not worried about that at all. Honestly, if we had Bateman and Andrews on the same roster, it'd make me more inclined to go through and trade for Lamar Jackson if possible. But if we're looking at the matchups, you have Gabriel Davis going up against the Rams. Obviously, it looks like Ramsey's going to be on Stephon Diggs. We have Bateman. I mean, Hollywood Brown's someone you have to start. Hollywood Brown's 100% someone you have to put in your starting lineup. We talked about this in the live stream last night, but he's going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't know if Zach Ertz is playing. We don't know if Rondale Moore is playing. This could be the highest scoring game of the week between the Chiefs and the Arizona Cardinals. I think you have to play Hollywood. I'm going to be very excited to do it. And between Gabriel Davis and Rashad Bateman, let's go through. Let's play Gabriel Davis this week. Let's see how it turns out. It'll give you something fun to root for on Thursday. Obviously, we're all going to be watching that game whenever. Hopefully, we see 1 million points scored between the Rams and the Bills. And hopefully, Gabriel Davis doesn't score all those points himself, because I will be losing money if Gabriel Davis comes out and is, I mean, I think at this point he's being drafted as like a high-end wide receiver 2. I guess if he's like a top 6 wide receiver in fantasy this year, I'm just going to be losing a crap ton of money. Okay, so Hawkinson off the board, 89. Let's go ahead. Let's take Antonio Gibson here. I mean, with Antonio Gibson, now you're in a spot where Brian Robinson hitting the PUP, obviously horrible. Like, the last thing you want to do is root against Brian Robinson. The last thing you want to do is get excited that Antonio Gibson is getting this starting job by default when Brian Robinson was literally announced as the starter right before he got shot that morning. But I mean, it is fantasy football. Now all of a sudden Antonio Gibson looks like he's possibly the starting running back in Washington. So let's go ahead and let's take him. Roy coming out says, can you look at my last donut and tell me who to start? Yes, sir. I'll be happy to go through and look at that. Thank you, of course, my friend. And this is the league that was crazy. Starting like 2 quarterbacks and a Superflex. So the 2 quarterbacks that we start, obviously you're starting Josh Allen, you're starting Joe Burrow. Between Tua Tagovailoa as well as Justin Fields. I know Fields goes up against San Francisco, I believe. Let me pull up who the Dolphins play again. The Patriots. Honestly, I'd probably go Justin Fields over Tua if the Dolphins are going against the Patriots. Justin Fields can fail, but still get there with the rushing upside. For our 2 wide receivers, we're going to go through. We're going to play Lamb and Higgins almost regardless of the matchup. For the running back, we're going to play Saquon Barkley. For the tight end, we're playing Cole Kmet. And if we were to have a flex, we're going to go through and play Hollywood Brown. But let me know, do you think, I'm going to ask this for the live chat. Please answer in the chat right now. Do you think you should play T. Higgins week 1 or Hollywood Brown against the Kansas City Chiefs with an injured Zach Ertz and injured Rondale Moore? I think it does. The only thing it comes down to is Higgins versus Hollywood. Okay, we got Brown, Higgins, Hollywood, Brown. Okay, so it looks like most people are saying Hollywood Brown. Let's use the tiebreak that if you have one of Zach Ertz or Rondale Moore missing, then let's use that as a tiebreak, and then let's go through and let's play Hollywood. If they both play, then we can maybe go do T. Higgins. I don't know. People are saying, why not both? Because this is a very shallow starting lineup where it doesn't make sense to do both unless you're playing him over CeeDee Lamb. Are you playing T. Higgins over CeeDee Lamb? I don't think so. I don't think you can. Okay. So let's scroll this down. We have James Cook, 102. Cordell Patterson goes 103. So at this point, I mean, I think this is an okay team. It's not like a team I'm jumping up and down with. If we were to have Justin Herbert make it to us in the 4th, if we would have had Russell Wilson make it to us in the 7th, if we would have had Dak Prescott making it back around to us at pick 102, I think we could jump up and down. We could get very excited about this, but at this point, it's going to be much more difficult. So we have Dawson Knox off the board at 107. So at running back, we have Eckler, A.J. Dillon, Antonio Gibson, James Cook. Wide receiver, we have Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Jerry Jeudy. And then we have Dalton Schultz at tight end. Chewbacca says, are you going to be 24 hours in a suit? I don't know. Let me know in the live chat right now. Do y'all think for the 24-hour live stream we rock with the suit? Let me know what you're thinking. Okay, so we have Chase Claypool, 111. Yeah, I think, guys, we're going to have to go into the 24-hour live stream with the plan to wear the suit. And I'm preparing for the worst. I'm preparing for the worst. I think this is going to be extremely difficult, where maybe we end up having to take it off. Maybe we have to end up rolling with the shirt like the last 17 hours once we're fine. The crazy thing is, like, doing a 5-hour live stream is a big deal for some people. We're doing a 5-hour live stream and then immediately after doing an additional another 5-hour live stream, and then doing another 5-hour live stream, and then doing another 5-hour, and then doing another 4. We are doing a 24-hour live stream. Maybe I can find a way to get an Xbox and like hook it up to my computer or something, where through the hours of like 1 to 3 a.m. we can take a break and we can play some NCA or something. Maybe we can do that, take a break, because I think my brain is going to melt if we don't. And yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Devin Singletary here. We're just going to lock up every touch in this Buffalo Bills backfield. I think when we go Devin Singletary, we're not going to draft another running back after this. We will be stopping at 5. So this is going to be a team where we draft 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and then 8 wide receivers. Bobby Johnson coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says 0 or hero running back in an 8-team league where we start 3 wide receivers and it's a PPR auction. Okay, I hate to try to give you advice on this because it's going to be the most boring advice on the planet. It's going to be the lamest advice I could ever give. But if it's an 18-team lock, if it's an 18-team auction, do not go into it with a plan saying, this is exactly what I'm doing. You have to go into it with the plan to stay flexible. You have to go into it and just go, I'm staying flexible. I'm going to look for values where I can get them, because they're going to be very hard to come by in an 18-team league. They're going to be very hard to come by in that 18-team format. Okay. So we're really hoping that we get running backs off the board. And we have Kenneth Walker. We have Michael Carter going. So Michael Carter going way, way earlier in these drafts now. Kirk Cousins, not necessarily someone that I'm looking for. I mean, we don't have Adam Thielen. We don't have Justin Jefferson. So there's really no reason for us to take Kirk Cousins. What does Dak Street Boys have? Dak Street Boys went Jamar Chase. They did not get the option to go Jefferson. They go Kenneth Gainwell. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Rondale Moore here. We're going to take him as our fifth wide receiver. Our 5th wide receiver. Let me show you all this draft board. I like the team. I like the team in a private draft. If it was a tournament draft, I'm not a massive tournament draft fan if you don't get the elite level quarterback, but here I think it's okay. Let me know what you're thinking. Of course, we were drafted at 6. We went Austin Eckler, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, A.J. Dillon, Dalton Schultz, Antonio Gibson, James Cook, Devin Singletary, and we just went Rondale Moore at pick 126. So let's move this down. We got James Robinson, Alexander Madison. Perfect. Get these running backs off the board. Great for us to see these running backs go. Colin says, what are we drinking for the 24-hour live stream? You can drink whatever you want, but I'm going to be drinking water, and then I'm going to try to wait as long as I can and then some kind of caffeinated beverage late so I can stay up. Because the worst thing I could ever do is go through, start drinking some beer at 8 p.m. And then by the time 2 a.m. rolls around, sober up and then be just unbelievably tired. Like, that's not something we can do. We can't do that, my friend. I was thinking about this. Let me know. And I'm not promising that we're going to do this. But what would you think if we set like a crazy goal? And I don't even know what it would be. Like 95,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, like 20,000 likes. Something along those lines. Like something crazy that we're probably not going to hit. And I'd shave my head on the stream at the very end of it. Let me know what y'all think. If you have any better ideas for some crazy goal that we can have, I'm all ears. That's just one of them that I had. Let me know. Okay, Alberto off the board. We definitely need to bring in another tight end. Now, honestly, we're going to get Justin Fields here. We don't have anybody from Chicago. I don't necessarily care. Justin Fields has the rushing upside, so let's go ahead. Let's take him. I think we can get some spike weeks. Okay, so let's look at this. Johnny says, do it, 100,000 subscribers and 20K likes. Okay. If we were to do it, it would have to be something crazy like that. It would have to be like 100,000 subscribers, 20,000 likes in the live stream. Flockavelli says 90,001 subs. Okay. Big Disco Energy says, I would say create a donations goal. No, because if I would create a donations goal, that would just look so crappy. Me saying like, oh, if you give me $5,000, I'll shave my head up. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We'll do something like subscribers or likes. Now, Trevor Lawrence off the board at 140. But if y'all have any other ideas for some fun challenges we can do in that 24-hour live stream, let me know. I am all ears. I'm all ears. But after we take Justin Fields, we're probably still going to be drafting 3 quarterbacks. Like we said, it's a private draft. I think we have to go through. We have to take 3 of these guys. If we're looking at other quarterbacks later on that could potentially correlate with what we currently have. I mean, Stafford's already gone. Like literally every single player that we're attached to is already gone. The only guy you could say is, oh, Carson Wentz with Antonio Gibson. That's the only one. XDS says twerk for 100,000. I don't think anybody would want to see that, my friend. James says play video games with scissors. I don't know how I could set that up. I don't know if scissors would be down for that. Probably not. Patty I says 95,000 in a flock tattoo. I've never had a tattoo. If I was going to get a flock tattoo, we'd have to hit like 1 million subs. If we hit like 500,000 or if we hit like 1 million subscribers, something like that, which will never happen. I think the fantasy footballers have like 200. Then we would get a flock tattoo, but yeah, that's never happening. Okay, Big Disco Energy says do a charity side fundraiser. I like that idea. I like that idea. Maybe very difficult for me to find a way to set that up, but if I can, I definitely like it. Now let's move this around. I think at this point, Daxter Boys probably can't go with the quarterback. Already has 2. I'm imagining that he has 2 very strong options. I mean, he took Trevor Lawrence at 140. Never mind. Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. I guess you could go with the third guy later. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get DJ Chark on Underdog if you're drafting like tournament style drafts where we're trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17. I don't like DJ Chark because I think down the stretch you should expect that Jameson Williams is going to be in and Jameson Williams is going to be playing over Chark. But specifically in these private drafts where we're just looking for points in weeks 1, 2, 3, all the way through 17. Let's go ahead and let's take him here. David says 100,000 and wear OU jerseys for the rest of your remaining streams. I like that idea. I like that idea. Steven says grow a beard during the live stream. I'm not joking. I was shaving today and I was like, if we're going to be live 24 hours, I can literally shave right before the live stream, and then by the time it's done, I'm going to have to shave again. That thought went through my mind. Okay. Caden says, 100,000 subs, shave your head, but get the flock logo in your hair. Oh, we'd have to have someone very talented coming over to do that. I'm assuming we just have my girlfriend with literally the same electric razor I shaved the dog with, just coming in real quick. And I feel like that would be a pretty good, I feel like that would be an intense bet. I feel like that'd be an intense challenge. Okay. So now we have Jameis Winston off the board, 155. Like I said, we're done at running back, so it'd be really nice for us to get as many of these running backs off the board as possible. We do need to bring in another tight end still. Robbie Anderson goes 158. Robbie Anderson would have been in play for us at the beginning of at the middle portion of the 14th round here. And real quick, if y'all want to see another draft, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream. We hit 700 likes. We're going to fire up another draft after this one. If not, no harm, no foul, guys. It'll be fine. I'll save my voice, and we will maybe have a better live stream on Monday. Now we have Robert Tonyan off the board, 160. Eno Benjamin, 161. Okay, I think at this point, we probably just go ahead. Yeah, I mean, these running backs are falling. We can't do anything with the running back value, though. I think we have to take tight end. Spam the chat. Who do you want, Gerald Everett or Mike Gesicki? I've been buying the dip on Mike Gesicki. Maybe I've been buying the dip a little bit too aggressively because we've been buying Gesicki and he's just been going down, 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 down. So let me know who you want between these two guys. We have Austin Eckler. We have Keenan Allen. So maybe make the bet that we're already going all in on the Los Angeles Chargers offense being a good one this upcoming year. But we have Everett, Gesicki, Everett, Gesicki, Everett, Gesicki. Literally, y'all are 50-50. I have more Mike Gesicki than Gerald Everett at this point. We are betting on the Los Angeles Chargers offense as is. So let's go ahead. Let's take Gerald Everett. Like, if you're going to look at my rankings, I probably have Mike Gesicki ranked before Gerald Everett, if I'm going to be honest with you. But let's diversify a little bit. We already have a lot of them. We've been buying the dip too much, as we already discussed. And I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine here. Let's scroll this down. We have Khalil Herbert and Zamir White going directly after us in the 14th. Okay, Gesicki makes it all the way to pick 167. It would have been sad if we ended up having Mike Gesicki just make it all the way back to us in the 15th round, and we didn't even need to go ahead and take a tight end. Joe says, why is Mike Gesicki falling? I mean, the reports out of Miami aren't great at this point. Like, it sounds like people are saying, oh, Gesicki's going to be more of a blocker. Then other people are saying, oh, Mike Gesicki is going to get traded. In reality, I think it's just a lot of talk. I think it's just a lot of buzz that we don't have to be too worried about. You definitely have to slide him down a bit. Like, I don't want to say to completely ignore it. But, I mean, I've been ignoring it enough to buy the dip on him in a lot of different spots. Nick says, thoughts on the Jalen Reagor trade? I mean, with the Jalen Reagor trade, there's no other takeaway than RIP Justin Jefferson, then RIP Adam Thielen, RIP KJ Osborne. It probably even hurts Dalvin Cook. Because if you assume that Jalen Reagor gets like 2,000 receiving yards in Minnesota this upcoming season, like even the rushing game's going to be hurt here. Let's go ahead. Let's take Marvin Jones as our 7th wide receiver at pick 174. I think if we were playing in a tournament style draft, we go ahead. We decide to take Van Jefferson, someone that will be back later on in the year from that knee injury. I mean, maybe he only misses a week, maybe he misses 2, but maybe he starts slow. But he should have the highest ceiling later on in the season, whereas we just need someone that's going to be good and ready to roll right away week 1 here. Dalton says at least 2K, but probably like 3K. Yeah, I know I was going to say Reagor with 3,000 yards, but I felt like we were going to have some Jalen Reagor haters out here saying if I said he was going to have 3,000 receiving yards, that I'd be going a little bit too far. So I kept it conservative. Because I know we will have some Jalen Reagor haters out here in the chat. Okay. So Paris Campbell off the board, 179. Tyler says, is it realistic that some people think Damian Pierce is going to do better than Breece Hall in redraft. I know some people think that. Now, should they think? Oh, hell no. They should not think that. But I know some people do. Now, Jerick McKinnon off the board at 181. Corey Davis goes 182. At this point, we're probably going to look to grab a quarterback on the way back around. I mean, if we were looking at quarterbacks that would correlate with us, I mean, hell, we can go through. We can grab Jared Goff where we have DJ Chark. I like the value of Jared Goff in a vacuum here as well. Yeah, so let's hope we get Jared Goff. I think Tyrion Davis-Price is a little bit more appealing now when we have no Trey Sermon. Even though there's a lot of smoke, there's a lot of noise in San Francisco, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen at running back. Let's go through. Let's get Goff. Do y'all remember that 1 year in San Francisco? Literally, just randomly popped in my head. Do y'all remember the 1 year in San Francisco that Jerick McKinnon signed a massive contract and Jerick McKinnon was a third-round redraft pick? Like, Jerick McKinnon at one point for the 49ers was a third-round redraft pick. And real quick, we are 70 likes away from firing up another draft after this one. If y'all want to see another draft, make sure you go down there and drop that like. If not, no harm, no foul. If you don't want to see another draft, it's fine. You're going to see a crap ton of them on Monday. Maybe we cut the live stream a little bit early, and we end up saving our voice for Monday. Okay. We have Noah Fant going off the board at 189. Antonio says, what is the max injury for Puppy 4? I don't know. Hopefully it's high because on Monday, we're if we're streaming for 24 hours, we're probably getting 50 drafts in along those lines. So hopefully it's not like a Pomeranian, and hopefully it's open for a while too. What would be very bad is if it just fills immediately on us. But after we take Jared Goff, you have AJ Green, Noah Fant, Mark Ingram all off the board. I mean, I don't necessarily care too much about these guys. I'm kind of happy to see them go. NFL Blitz says Noah Fant is falling hard. Yeah, with Noah Fant, very similar to like Mike Gesicki here, where the reports are coming out saying that Fant's going to be used a little bit more as a blocking tight end. However, if you look at who Noah Fant was in college, who Noah Fant's been in the NFL, Noah Fant's never been a blocking tight end. Never. He's never been that inline option. So honestly, I don't necessarily think it's something that we have to be too concerned about. I think that you can still assume that Noah Fant is going to be good to go. Kelsey says, Mason, are you going to get that red badge on Monday? I have no idea how far away from that we are. Do y'all know how you can, if you can see how far away from the badges you are on Underdog? Someone in the chat knows. Please fill me in. Let me look at my account. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We are going to get, oh my gosh, Carson Wentz goes. What the hell? Let's take Davis Mills. We need a third quarterback. We need someone that's going to start right at the beginning of the season. I am a noted Davis Mills hater. Like, I think Davis Mills most likely bad quarterback. We look at Las Vegas. They're telling us that the Houston Texans should be the worst team in the league this year. So it is concerning, but at the same time. Okay, so let's move this down. And if you have not done so already, please go down there. Drop a like in the live stream. We hit 700 likes in the stream, which I think we are 30 away. We are firing up another draft. And the recovery, always out here, says, a flock, here's the squad. We got CMC, Alvin Kamara, Dak Prescott, Deebo Samuel. Okay, so we have the CeeDee Lamb and Dak stack. Zach Ertz and Adam Thielen. Benches, Kareem Hunt, Cordell Patterson, Ramondre Stevenson, Brandon Cooks, and Robert Woods. What's the grade? Assuming this is a 12-team league, I think it's a very strong squad because we can say Christian McCaffrey's the running back one if he stays healthy. Kamara's a top 10 running back minimum. So we have two top 10 running backs. Deebo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb are both two top 10 wide receivers. We have a very strong quarterback. I don't want to call Dak Prescott elite, given the fact that we don't have that crazy rushing upside. But Dak Prescott is a very capable quarterback. We have him stacked up with CeeDee Lamb, so I think that's a very strong. Love the team, my friend. I don't even know exactly what we can say to make it better. Like, maybe if Zach Ertz starts off strong with no DeAndre Hopkins, then all of a sudden we can go through, we can package Zach Ertz with another option and like package Zach Ertz and Brandon Cooks and get a tight end that we like more for the long term, like George Kittle. But you're not going to be able to get that deal done today. You're going to have to wait and see if we have a strong start from Zach Ertz with no Hopkins in that offense. Okay, so Mo Cox off the board here, 206. Kendrick Bourne goes. So at this point, let's just go through. If y'all don't know, I went to school with Devin Duvernay. Hook 'em horns. I'm excited to root for our guy. Let's go through. Let's take Devin Duvernay here to 11. I mean, with Devin Duvernay, you have to be more concerned about Isaiah Likely coming on, where it looks like they may just run more 2 tight end sets. Looks like Isaiah Likely may be able to draw some of those targets we thought were going to go to Duvernay, but it is what it is. I still think it's fine. And we are 10 likes away on the stream from firing up another draft. So if you want another draft, make sure you go down there, drop that like in the live stream. And if you want to join another draft with us, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And you'll get to draft with us every single night on the stream. They're best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. And like we said, we're going to be doing this for 24 hours on Monday. 24 hours. So I need your help. Okay, so let me go through. Let me set up this next draft for us. And also on Underdog, they have pick'ems. I don't know if y'all know this, but I'll show y'all this just real quick. Let me know if anything here stands out for you. So let's scroll this over. What's the passing? Okay, it's 277 for Josh Allen, 274 for Matthew Stafford. Only 48.5 rushing yards for Akers. Very interesting. Cooper Kupp's been bet down a little bit. Higbee's been bet up to 40 receiving yards. Interesting. I kind of like some of the unders on the Chicago-San Francisco game. Wonder why they don't have too many Pittsburgh lines up currently. I like the A.J. Brown under possibly with a couple of these unders with Detroit. I'm always trying to just hunt game unders. I mean, that's what we did last year. We had a lot of success last year. I will say I think we got lucky in a couple spots, definitely. Like, I think if Brandon Cooks had one less receiving yard against the San Francisco 49ers, we would have lost $1,000, but we ended up winning, of course, because he did get that one extra receiving yard. So we did get lucky last year, but we did make money last year. Definitely got lucky. I'm not expecting to be able to come out here and make money every single year off player props. Okay. So just check the live chat right now. It says a $3 draft, and that will be over there on Underdog, of course. We sent that. I'm assuming that it's going to get filled in approximately 0.01 seconds. Usually these fill up incredibly fast in the live streams at night. I'm worried about these drafts filling up a little bit slower during the 24-hour stream, but here we're picking at 2. We're picking right next to NFL Blitz yet again. Dak Street Boys in this draft again. Jelly Pump out here as always. Dark Horse out here as always. We got Alex out here. Okay, let's go. Let's roll with it. I think we got a couple new names in the draft as well. So I love to see new names out here. Love to get new faces in. Okay. James says he's at the 10 spot. Okay, so James, I did not know you were Dark Horse. I knew your Dark Horse was already always out here in the drafts with us. I knew you were always in the chat. Did not put 2 and 2 together. But King David coming out, long time no see. Says got offered Chase for Stephon Diggs. What are your thoughts, Hook 'em horns? Hook 'em horns, baby. And of course, we are going to go through. We're going to take Jamar Chase over Stephon Diggs. Like, I think Stephon Diggs could be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy this upcoming season, given the fact that we are in a very nice spot with the targets available in possibly the best passing offense in the NFL in Buffalo. I said possibly. Now here with Jamar Chase, he's just a freaking stud. Just a freaking stud. As a rookie last year, he was right there with what you had with Stephon Diggs. Let's go ahead. Let's take CMC at pick 2. I don't necessarily think you can do anything else other than take Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey with the first 2 picks. Alex says, Mason, I've never not been at the 10, 11, or 12 when drafting with you. Tough life, my friend. Tough life. I'll say, I hate pick 12. I mean, we have the infamous draft at pick 12 and that $250 one where, like, through the first 8 rounds, we had what? Like, I believe 1 receiver. Like, through the first 8. It was disgusting. Okay. So Derrick Henry off the board here at 7. Jamar Chase goes at 6. How did Jamar Chase? Oh, we had NFL Blitz decide to take Austin Eckler at 3. Personally, I don't think you can take Eckler over these wide receivers on Underdog. On Underdog, obviously, you have to start 3 wide receivers every single week. These guys are naturally going to slide up draft boards. Oh, taking them over Jefferson, Kupp, and Jamar Chase is very rich for me, especially when you get Sony Michel coming in. Of course, Sony Michel's not a massive threat to Austin Eckler by any means, but I do think that maybe Michel vultures some of these touchdowns. Like, even if he just vultures like 2 or 3, I think it hurts him enough to definitely keep him behind those receivers. Like, we have our updated running back rankings and tiers coming out tomorrow, and we did move Austin Eckler back down to tier 3. We had him at tier 2. He was always running back 3 all offseason, but we had him as the tier 2 running back all offseason until the Isaiah Spiller injury. And then when Isaiah Spiller went down and we were in a spot where we had absolutely nobody behind him, then we decided to throw in the flag, move him up to being a tier 1 player. But Spiller's back and healthy, and Sony Michel's in here. I don't think you can have Austin Eckler in that same tier of JT and Christian McCaffrey anymore. April says, if you wear a suit, you will last 2 hours max. I don't know, April. Hey, we did 4 hours on the live stream last night in a suit. We did 4 hours last night in the suit. And if y'all don't know, like, we live stream every single night. Like, that's what we do. That's what we do. Like, even during the season, we're going to go through, we're going to live stream every single night. And last year, even though we were doing suits and videos, we were not doing live stream suits. It's just been a gradual progression. The suit's been a gradual progression. Now we got Deebo Samuel in 19. Okay. I don't even know what we're rooting for. I guess maybe Mark Andrews. I mean, you get a lot of Mark Andrews drafts here at the 2-3 turn. I mean, I like taking Andrews. Then we can get Lamar later on in the 4th. But no, he goes. So we're just going to go through. We're going to take a wide receiver. We can get Leonard Fournette on the way back around at 26 if we want some correlation in here with that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I think this is how we break it down. Chubb goes 24. Let's see what Eugene does after this. Yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's take Leonard Fournette. We're going to get some correlation in here in Tampa. I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, Mason, you have to take a wide receiver here. You have to start 3 of these guys every single week. These guys are going to go early. Grab a wide receiver. No, I mean, I think if we can get the running back 1, the wide receiver 1 for Tom Brady here at the 2-3 turn, it's going to be fine. Keenan Allen goes 28. A.J. Brown, 27. Dalton says Bucks play Panthers week 17. Not worried about week 17 matchups. This is a private draft. It's just cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17. There is no fantasy football playoff tournament at the very end. So please know, if we're getting a private draft going, this is not the same strategy you would have for Best Ball Mania. We say this in every single draft, and I know we get annoying saying this over and over again, so I try to limit myself to maybe once a video, but yeah, this is not a tournament style draft on Underdog. Okay. So if Kyle Pitts off the board at 30, Interesting. Back-to-back drafts where you had Kyle Pitts fall to the mid-third. We very rarely have been seeing that now. Michael Pittman, 33. Jalen Waddle, 35. Not too many things stand out so far in this draft. I would say if we have one thing that we should be looking at, it would be that Austin Eckler decision at 3. Like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to go Austin Eckler round 1, then Tyreek Hill round 2? Or would you rather go Justin Jefferson round 1 and then Nick Chubb? So would you rather have Jefferson, Chubb, Eckler, Hill? Jefferson, Chubb, or Eckler, Hill? Let me know what you're thinking. NFL Blitz says, did I at least make the right play teaming up Hill and Brown for Eckler? I mean, I don't necessarily think that it's like probably you go wide receiver there. I mean, clearly we take a running back after we go Christian McCaffrey. But looks like most people are saying Eckler and Hill. No, it looks like it's split 50-50. Never mind. Okay, I'm surprised to hear this from y'all. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people do like the Eckler pick at 3. I figured 99% of people would say Justin Jefferson and Nick Chubb over Austin Eckler and Tyreek Hill. We have Justin Herbert going at 442, so he's stacking up with Mike Williams. Ezekiel Elliott goes 43. Recently, we had to move Ezekiel Elliott up in our rankings, and it's painful to do, but at the same time, when we're looking at the reason we decided to go through and move up Ezekiel Elliott, it is nothing to do about Zeke himself. It has everything to do just with the situation that we're looking at with J.K. Dobbins, with Cam Akers, them sliding down our rankings. They're in the same tier with Ezekiel Elliott, so all of a sudden he's sliding up. Okay. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes going 48. Let's see what we end up going. I think Jerry Jeudy is almost an automatic pick there at 47. Very rarely is Jeudy making it to this point. I did not love the Jerry Jeudy value previous to what we had with the Tim Patrick injury. If Tim Patrick was still in Denver, I would not be advocating to go through and draft Jerry Jeudy here at the end of the 4th round. But specifically because we had Tim Patrick down, we did move up Courtland Sutton. We did move up Jerry Jeudy, both in our rankings, of course, when that happened. And I think now that Jerry Jeudy's a fine price here, where this is where he used to be going pre-Tim Patrick injury. Okay. Dalton says Kittle. I have taken a crap ton of Kittle. Like, let me look at my ownership percentages of these guys. I mean, I have Kittle in a ton of leagues. And Nick says, who do you take at the 2 spot? Tight end gets 2 points per receptions, and running backs get 1.25. 2 spot, you go CMC. Assuming Jonathan Taylor's on the board 1, you go CMC, and then possibly Kyle Pitts on the way back around at the 2-3 turn in a league where you get an additional full point per reception for the tight end position. Okay. So let me look at this. Yeah. So Deontay Johnson, we have in 14% of leagues. We have Jerry Jeudy in 6%. We have Kittle in 13%. Yeah, so I wasn't drafting Jerry Jeudy before the Tim Patrick injury at all because he was going in the late 4th. And I thought that offense was going to be too diversified where it didn't really make sense. But Pierre coming out, thank you, my friend, says, it doesn't make sense to draft Isaiah Likely if you already have Andrew. He's got the Bills triple stack in this draft. Honestly, no, I'm not taking Isaiah Likely. Maybe if you're drafting on like Best Ball Mania where there's going to be a large portion of the field that Isaiah Likely's not even owned, then sure, maybe. But no. I'm just going to go through. I'm going to avoid Isaiah Likely in general. Like on Underdog here, he's being drafted before Logan Thomas. I can't be doing that. Now we have Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts going off the board here, 63, 64. I definitely would have taken one of these elite level quarterbacks if they had made it to us at the 6-7 turn. I think that both of these quarterbacks have it in their range of outcomes to be the QB1 overall in fantasy. David Montgomery off. David Montgomery has been someone we've been drafting in this range. So let's swing this around. Yeah, Trey Lance has been falling. Very interesting to see the fall for Trey Lance. I guess this is legitimately just because Jimmy Garoppolo's in town. NFL Blitz says Darren Waller's miraculously healthy after the extension. Okay, so are we getting our guy? See what NFL Blitz decides to do. Yeah, the easy pick for me. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Elijah Mitchell, especially now that we have Trey Sermon out of this situation. I wasn't necessarily super worried about Trey Sermon coming out here and being the starting running back in San Francisco, but I think it's one less guy, one less body that we have to worry about. With Elijah Mitchell, he was a rookie running back that averaged 100 total yards a game last year. So let's go ahead. Let's take him at 71. Dalton Schultz off the board at 72. Christian Kirk goes. Yeah, so let's go through. Let's take Trey Lance. I mean, yeah, we have some correlation with Elijah Mitchell. In reality, I don't necessarily think that matters too much. But as we've discussed with all these rushing quarterbacks, like a Lamar Jackson, like a Jalen Hurts, I'm going to be more willing to go through and draft a quarterback without one of their complements if we're betting on the overall rushing upside and we don't really care too much about the passing volume, which I think is the case here with what we're going to be looking at in San Francisco. So we have Josh Jacobs immediately off the board here at 76. Let's scroll this down. We have Chase Edmonds, 77. And yeah, going back and looking at what we do here on the turn, taking the starting running back for the 49ers as well as starting quarterback, there's an outside chance that the 49ers this upcoming season, if we count the rushing attempts that we get from Trey Lance, which of course they do count, lead the NFL in rushing. Lead the NFL in rushing attempts, lead the NFL in rushing yards, however you want to break it down. That is within the range of outcomes. So I think it makes sense for us to go through and just take these two guys. So maybe we make that bet that the offensive line is better than people assume. Okay, now we have DeAndre Hopkins off the board, 79. Tony Pollard goes. Oh, what are we looking for on the way back around? I feel like at this point, we probably need to still look for some wide receivers. Like we're not completely dead at receiver. Obviously, we're not very strong either. We have Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, and Deontay Johnson. I really like the price point we're getting on Deontay. I think he can exceed expectations here, but still. And Hoster coming out, thank you, my friend, says, rate my home league redraft team. We got Trey Lance at quarterback, CMC at running back. Yeah, it looks familiar. Looks familiar. I don't know where we've seen that one before, my friend. Obviously, we just drafted that. But nonetheless, we got Javonte Williams, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Pitts, Allen Robinson. Okay, if this is a 12-team league, great team. You have possibly a top 3 quarterback, a top 3 tight ends. You have possibly the running back 1 overall, a top 10 guy with Javonte Williams, a couple wide receiver 1s with CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown. Great team. There's not much for me to say. Maybe if we can use this Deebo Samuel injury and get a discount on Deebo by trading away A.J. Brown, we can get that correlation in between Trey Lance and Deebo Samuel. Maybe that would make sense. But in reality, a very strong team. There's not too much I think we can actually do. Okay, but TJ Hawkinson goes off the board here, 90. Swing this around. Dak Prescott goes 91. And we have Isaac coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says 10-team PPR league. Is it best to go for Kelsey and Josh Allen early in the draft? Also, what draft number would be best in your opinion? Whatever gets you Jonathan Taylor or CMC. One or two. One or two. I know it's a boring answer. I know it's a simple answer. But I want one or two. I would love to bring in Jonathan Taylor. I would love to bring in Christian McCaffrey. Now, outside of that, I mean, in regards of grabbing a Josh Allen, grabbing Travis Kelce, I definitely like getting the elite level tight end in that 10-team shallow redraft format. Quarterback's going to depend on the price tag. Like if we can get him after pick like 30, yes, we'll go through and we'll take Josh Allen as well. But it's very easy for you to get Trey Lance at an extreme discount in a shallow redraft league. But let's go ahead. Let's take Tom Brady here. I mean, yes, we are never going to make this pick if it's not a best ball league. But since it's best ball, I think it's completely fine to have these two top end quarterbacks. We have Mike Evans as well, so we're getting that correlation in here with Mike Evans and Tom Brady. Sky Moore goes directly after at 96. And then Dawson Knox goes. So let's go ahead. Let's take Robert Woods. It is what it is. I mean, we are taking Treylon Burks over Robert Woods in leagues that have the fantasy football playoffs. So we're trying to optimize for the end of the season because I think we can have that rookie breakout with Treylon Burks. But specifically, I mean, in a league where it's just cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17, I think instead we just go through, we just try to get the player that's going to have the role right away in Tennessee. We know that he is going to have that role right away. So we can go through. We can take him at 98. And we have George Pickens off the board 100. So at this point, really, the only thing we can root for is quarterbacks to get drafted. Like, we want Derek Carr off. We want Matthew Stafford off. I mean, after that, I guess Justin Fields. But in reality, Justin Fields probably not going to be up by the time we're on the clock at 119. So we really just want to see those two QBs go. It'd be nice to get like Zach Ertz making it to us at 119, specifically in this format in particular. But I'd be surprised if that happens, to be honest with you. And Javier coming out, thank you, my friend, says, rate my wide receivers. We got Mike Williams, Courtland Sutton, Gabriel Davis, Rashad Bateman. I think you have a lot of upside with these receivers. In a 12-team league, I think you have a lot of upside. Personally, I have Mike Williams and Courtland Sutton ranked as wide receiver 2s. I have Gabriel Davis as a low-end wide receiver 2 as well. We have Rashad Bateman as a wide receiver 3 in fantasy this year. So obviously we're missing that top-end option, but what I would look to do is just roster some of those high upside rookies down there on the bench, players like Sky Moore as a perfect example, to try to just get one of those breakouts anywhere we can. I think we need to be utilizing those bench spots for those high upside rookie wide receivers. And then if it doesn't work out, we can cut them by the time we get to week 4. Now we have James Cook, Derek Carr going off the board at 107, 108. So why is Treylon Burks still falling? I legitimately thought once we had the week from Treylon Burks where he scored the touchdown in the preseason, that would be enough to see. I thought that would be enough for Treylon Burks to get a bump in value. Now, of course, maybe I was just being a little bit too optimistic. Maybe I just want to root for Treylon Burks, someone that we have drafted a crap ton in this range. And I'll tell you right now, we are going to continue to draft him in this range, to be honest with you. Okay, we have Rondé Moore. Pierre coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says, I took Diggs, Allen, and Gabriel Davis in the draft. Is this a terrible idea? No, you're going through. You're making that one correlated bet on the Buffalo Bills offense. If the Buffalo Bills are, say, a top 5 passing offense in the NFL this season, you probably crush. And I think that's a safe bet to make. I really like that idea. Okay, so now let's move this over. We got Michael Gallup off the board, 115. Y'all know Michael Gallup's our guy. We are looking for Gallup where we can get him. Be really nice to get Stafford off the board. I'm assuming that Stafford probably goes. Yeah, Stafford goes 116. I was going to say because, yeah, the Cooper Kupp team was here. Cooper Kupp was at 5. Kirk Cousins goes. Perfect. We're going to get a running back that we like. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take Melvin Gordon here as our running back 4. Really like the value that we're getting with Melvin Gordon. Let's see what Eugene decides to do here between our picks. Dante coming out says 12-team standard PPR where we got the 10th pick. Look at that 1 second. We got Tua Tagovailoa off the board as well. It's great for us. This could not be better. Kenneth Walker goes, I would not do this in a tournament draft on Underdog. If you're playing in Best Ball Mania, if you're playing in a Puppy, if you're playing in a Pomeranian, you cannot do this. You have to take Garrett Wilson. But specifically because this is a private draft where we have to be going through and approaching this a little differently, where we're not chasing a top 1 percentile outcome, I'm going to be fine going through and taking Darrell Henderson at 116 here. After this, we're done drafting quarterback. We're done drafting running back. We're just hammering in wide receivers after. Hammering in receivers, possibly we can go through and at the same time. We can get a tight ends at the end of the 12th round. It's just going to depend on the value that falls to us. I mean, some of those tight ends that we've liked at the end of the 12th they're no longer making it. Okay, so let's move this down. We have Isaiah McKenzie off the board 125, Romeo Doubs off the board 124. And now going back to Dante's question, it says a 12-team PPR where we had the 10th pick. We got Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Jamar Chase, Mike T. Who's Mike T? Darren Waller, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Lance, Traylon Burks, Tyler Irv Smith Jr. What do you think? Okay, so we have the elite level quarterback, Jalen Hurts, potentially the QB1 overall, definitely a top 5 option. We have potentially 2 running back ones with DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb. We have a wide receiver 1 with Jamar Chase. We have a wide receiver 2. I'm assuming that's Mike Williams. I really like the team. The thing is, what we're going to have to look to do is we're probably going to have to look to sell Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts, but I think when you have Trey Lance, you have that quarterback that you're going to be able to constantly rely on and plug and play regardless of matchup this upcoming season, specifically just because that rushing upside. So when we have Lance in this build, what I would really like to do is go through, try to package together, say Jalen Hurts and then another wide receiver. We can look at like Jalen Hurts and Mike Williams, move them in a deal and go get a truly elite level wide receiver. Maybe that's CeeDee Lamb. I think that would be fantastic. But overall, it's a very strong roster. It's hard to come up with any possible trades for that team. And then Javier coming out, thank you, my friend, says, we drafted Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Swift in the 1st and 2nd round. We have Chris Olave and Isaiah McKenzie. But being at the 12th spot, Mike Williams was the best wide receiver to make it to me. Okay, I'm a little confused here, my friend. Don't know what having Olave and McKenzie has to do with Mike Williams making it back in the 3rd. Yeah, I mean, if Mike Williams makes it at the 3-4 turn, I'm fine taking Mike Williams there. I'm just really advocating people do not draft Mike Williams over like Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's on the board. We're taking Keenan Allen. There are a couple other players in that range. Like if Kyle Pitts is on the board, we go through, we take Kyle Pitts. But I mean, if you want to go wide receiver and the best guy that you have is Mike Williams, 3-4 turn, take him. I mean, you're picking at 12. At 12, in my opinion, is just not a good spot to be at this year. Okay. Now we have DJ Chark off the board at 138. Let's scroll this back around. Obviously, like we said, we're done at running back. We're done at running back. We're done at quarterback. The only players that we can take this is what we have the option for. But Prince coming out, thank you, my friend, says, hey, brother, we have Tom Brady, Joe Mixon, Travis Etienne, Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, Dallas Goedert, Juju Smith-Schuster with Michael Gallup, Russell Gage, Isaiah Pacheco, Chris Olave, and Kadarius Toney on the bench. Any tips of trades I could do? Okay, so if we're looking at this, when we have Tom Brady, I do think that you are really going out of your way and you're making one bet and one bet only. You're betting that you are going to have a significant amount of passing volume in Tampa. And if that's going to be the case, we know that we're going to have someone like Mike Evans hitting, Chris Godwin hitting. I mean, I know you take Russell Gage here, But I'm still a lot more inclined to go and like try to trade T. Higgins for Mike Evans if we can, with this build in particular where we have Tom Brady. But you have Joe Mixon and T. Higgins on this roster. So maybe what I would rather do is go through and try to move Brady in a small piece, like Brady and Russell Gage, and try to get back in return Joe Burrow and get that correlation in with Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins. I think that'd be nice. And also with Isaiah Pacheco, if we could get anything for him in trade right now, I'm looking to do so, just because I think that this is such a muddied backfield where it looks like it's very difficult to figure out exactly how the touches breakdown is going to be here in Kansas City outside of Jared McKinnon probably being used on passing us. I don't know. The issue is if Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes down, it's still a backfield that has 3 capable running backs in it now that Ronald Jones is still there. So I probably look to sell Isaiah Pacheco for almost anything that we can get, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think we just add Isaiah Pacheco into that same deal we were talking about earlier. And Javier says, my bad, was continue my last question before the... Okay, I'm sorry, Javier. Let me go back and let me look at that, see what I missed. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. I apologize. So at wide receiver, we had Mike Williams, and you were saying that was the last guy available to you at pick 12. Yeah, I mean, so I guess it does make sense. It's hard to know how your drafters in a casual redraft league are going to value the wide receiver position, what kind of value they're going to let you have on the way back around. At pick 36, pick 37, sometimes you are getting much better options. Sometimes you are getting like a T. Higgins falling to you there in a casual redraft league. But I mean, if that's the best you're going to get, that's the best you're going to get. You do have, as we were discussing previously, Kamara and Swift. Yeah. Where Isaiah McKenzie, let me know what y'all think on this. I think Isaiah McKenzie is a very appealing option in best ball, of course, because it looks like he is the slot wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. And if you were looking at like Cole Beasley last year for best ball on Underdog Fantasy, because just the raw amount of volume that he's getting through the entire season, he is a very nice player to have on Underdog. In a shallow redraft league where you have to submit your starting lineup, are we ever excited to have Isaiah McKenzie there? I don't necessarily think so. I think that I possibly would go through and instead look to just pick up another like rookie wide receiver. Like if we can pick up another rookie wide receiver, like a Jahan Dotson is someone that I think I would rather have in a casual redraft format. That's someone that if things were to break right, he could be a player that you go through and jam in your starting lineup every single week. Okay. PJ says, what is Christian McCaffrey's ADP? CMC's at 2. No Idea says slot wide receiver in Buffalo usually produces. Yeah, that's why I said like in a league where just that raw number of production is going to matter a decent amount. Like let's go through. Let's value Isaiah McKenzie highly on Underdog Fantasy. But I feel like if we're going to be looking at a casual redraft league in particular, what's the true ceiling? Like what's the true ceiling with the McKenzie pick? Now, dear God, everybody snipes us on these tight ends. Are you kidding me? Thank God we decided to go Albert O earlier on. We can't take a running back here. It doesn't matter what you think of this running back value. We can't take one. I know it's the grossest thing in the world. It's the grossest thing imaginable. It's still probably a wasted pick, even though he's fallen rounds with his ADP. I guess we go Kenny Golladay here. I mean, if we were going to be looking at Kenny Golladay, this is a wide receiver that should have an extremely high average depth of target. Maybe he gets behind the defense sometimes this upcoming season. Now, of course, if this was a tournament style draft on Underdog Fantasy where we're optimizing for weeks 15, 16, 17, I take Jameson Williams and I don't even think twice. But specifically when this is that private draft where we don't have the fantasy football playoffs at the very end, we are just trying to get as many points as we can weeks 1 through 17. Having a player that's going to be missing as much time as Jameson Williams this upcoming year is going to hurt us too much. So in this league in particular, I don't think we can do it. I think that we have to go through. I think we have to take Marvin Jones, especially with Laviska Shenault going over to Carolina. Okay. So let's move this down. We have the 2 elite level quarterbacks. We still need to draft 3 tight ends. I think we drafted 5 running backs, so I think this is going to be a 2-5-8-3 build. Okay. So Daniel Jones, Jared Goff going directly after us, a quarterback. Nice to see those QBs off the board. We definitely want to get those quarterbacks off. Yeah, I know nobody likes Kenny Golladay there for great reason. I know Kenny Golladay is the grossest pick in the world at pick 167. But this wide receiver room is thin in New York. There's Tony constantly dealing with injuries. Wan'Dale's a smaller wide receiver. Sterling Shepard's not going to be good to go. And the thing with Golladay is he is a completely different profile of any other wide receiver there. Like you have Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale Robinson, both looking like the shifty wide receivers operating close to the line of scrimmage over the middle of the football field. Whereas the only true, I hate to say Alpha X, like I don't know. But the only true guy that's going to be playing there on the outside and playing the prototypical Alpha X wide receiver role is going to be Golladay. It is what it is. Now we have Evan Ingram and Hayden Hurst going. We really need to get our tight end that we like. Y'all know there's a tight end that I like on the way back round 16, round 17. But Mark coming out, thank you, my friend, says Cousins, Barkley, Elijah Mitchell, Justin Jefferson, Chris Godwin, Kyle Pitts, Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, A.J. Dillon, Naheem Hines, Darrell Henderson, Robert Tonyan, and Rashad White. What do you think in a 12-team PPR format? I actually like Robert Tonyan, like at his price point. But in reality, if we have Kyle Pitts already, I'm probably not going in rostering a backup tight end. I probably would prefer just picking up another running back off the waiver. Someone like Tyrion Davis-Price. Like literally just have a running back where we don't know exactly what their role is going to be week 1. That if it doesn't work out, who cares? We cut them immediately. We pick up the hot waiver wire running back, which we know we are probably going to have after week 1. So I think for that roster spot right now, instead of rostering the second tight end when we have Kyle Pitts, I do prefer spending it on an additional running back that's maybe an injury away. And then outside of that, I mean, I understand that we have the stack here with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. My issue with Cousins in a shallow redraft format, realistically, what is the ceiling? Like Kirk Cousins could come out here and he can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards. He can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in passing touchdowns. It'll be like the quarterback 10, the quarterback 11 in fantasy football. Just because rushing upside matters so much. Even if you're not Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, just being Daniel Jones and being able to pick up 300, 400 rushing yards is going to change the range of outcomes for you. So if we could package together, say, like Kirk Cousins and a bench player like, say, Robert Tonyan and, I mean, even A.J. Dillon and go get that elite level quarterback, I think this is the year where you have to go pay up for the elite level QB. I think it's much harder to get away with going and streaming the quarterback position as you could have in years past. Okay. So now we have A.J. Green off the board at 189. Logan Thomas goes. Logan Thomas is our tight end. We'll take Noah Fant here at 191. I mean, Noah Fant just falling like a rock. I think it's fine value. Obviously a very bad situation in Seattle, but at the same time, I mean, he's a tight end that does have the talent profile that we look for. And our guy goes in Logan Thomas. So what the hell am I supposed to do? Isaiah Likely off the board at 193. Let's take Brevin Jordan. I'm not a massive Brevin Jordan guy, but we need a third tight end. He fits the build. So we'll go Brevin Jordan. Let me show this team off to you. We're going to draft a wide receiver in the 18th round. Actually, how about this? If we hit 900 likes on the live stream, we will fire up another draft. If not, guys, I kind of feel like we maybe need to save our voice for Monday when we're going to do that 24-hour live stream. So if we hit 90,000, if we hit 900 likes in the stream, we'll go through. We'll fire up a 4th draft. If not, no issue. We'll go through and instead save our voice for Monday. Dalton says, Brevin Jordan going to be the tight end 2 on the Texans. All I know is that there are a ton of targets available in Houston. We bet on Nico Collins in this draft, so maybe this is the draft that we say, hey, what happens if something happens to Brandon Cooks? And all of a sudden we are looking at a Houston Texans roster that has absolutely no weapons in the slightest, where they would have to throw 2 tight ends on the field. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a big Brevin Jordan guy. Let me look at how many leagues I've drafted Brevin Jordan in this year, or at least our ownership percentage of him. I have Brevin Jordan in 3% of drafts. 3%. So like, don't come out here and roast me for drafting Brevin Jordan. It's like the only time we're ever doing it. Like, this is a private draft as well. In a private draft, I don't think Taysom Hill is nearly as appealing as he would be in a tournament draft. Okay. Let's scroll this around. We have Marcus Mariota, Baker Mayfield off the board. Good for us. We're looking for a wide receiver, as we already discussed. I mean, with receivers, I don't love any of the deep options in San Francisco. Same thing with Tampa. I think Tampa, you kind of already know who it is. Carson Wentz off the board, 202. Personally, I do prefer Carson Wentz over Davis Mills. It's an easy decision for me as well. Okay, so let's swing this around here. Davis Mills goes 204. Mo Alley Cox, 205. There are a decent amount of wide receivers falling. The question is, do we like any of these guys? Will Fuller. Oh, God, dear. Will Fuller, can you please sign somewhere? Please. For the love of God, Will Fuller. Go to Buffalo. Like, oh, my gosh. If he went to Buffalo after we've been fading Gabriel Davis all year, that'd be ridiculous. Nick Westbrook-Akeen off the board, 210. What are we getting here? I just have no idea what wide receiver we would want. Like, what other players would be in this range? Really, nobody's too appealing here. NFL Blitz. Let's see what they decide to do. Only 6 wide receivers. I'd imagine they have to go through. Have to take a wide receiver, right? You only have 6 of these guys. Don Peoples-Jones. What's the report on Crowder? In the mix for slot snaps. That's enough for me. If you're going to be in the mix for snaps with the Buffalo Bills, we will go ahead. We'll take you. And Pierre says, any chance Truston Ebner does anything? I know that we have some hype here. Personally, no. But personally, no. I do not think so. But I think we're probably going to end the live stream here. We streamed for about 2 hours. I know this is a little light of a live stream from us. We didn't hit 900 likes, but we are going to save our voice for that 24-hour live stream on Monday. I appreciate all of you. Of course, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up so you can draft with us in that 24-hour live stream. I really need you to. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day, and I hope we get to see you out with the stream tomorrow.